Hey y'all, what's going on? Happy Wednesday to you all. How you doing? I hope everyone is doing well and that you are enjoying your Wednesday or whatever day it is, right? Because I know some of y'all probably are watching the replay and I totally understand. I get it. But welcome to our Sister to Sister Connection live show with yours truly, Twonta, Jay, and my girl in absence, Leticia Campbell. Hopefully, she'll be back with us next week. But yeah, we are doing well. And like I said, I hope you guys are doing well. Listen, if you want to be a part of our sisterhood, we do have a group page that you are welcome to be a part of. And of course, my girl Therese, who is the producer in the background, she's going to go ahead and pop that link that you guys can click on, and you can go right on ahead and proceed from there. But we would love to have you in our group page. And also, as you know, we are on Facebook and we are also on YouTube. So if you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, the whole spiel to that, right? But yes, I'm content creator. I come up with the topics and the points and all that good stuff. And so we were not on last week, of course, unfortunately, because a lot was going on both our schedules on our end. My church had Vacation Bible School last week, and I was there to help facilitate or pretty much, create or prepare the whole setup and everything. So I was there pretty much throughout the whole entire week with that, and it went very, very well, of course. But the week before that I was on and I was mentioning about, being though that this is August, it is back to school season. And some of you might have already started school with your kids is concerned. The rest will start on Labor Day, after Labor Day, actually. I wanted to dedicate this month into talking about preparation and stuff and how what you need to do and all those things to get your kids going and all that good stuff. So yes, we did miss the week, and that is okay. That's all right, because the information that I do want to talk about is information that needs to be repeated often anyway. Okay. So we're going to get started with that. I'm not going to be with you long, but the topic for tonight is called Be on Alert. Be on alert. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Be on alert. This is the time right now that we as parents or guardians need to be on top of our game when it comes to our children. Okay, we're back. Okay, I was having a moment. Let me just put that out there too. My Wi-Fi is still acting up. So just in case if I go off sync a little bit, you know what's up. Therese will take care of it on the back end until I am back on board. Just to let you guys know, because I can't control this daggone Wi-Fi. I tried, but it didn't do no good. Okay. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, my Wi-Fi is acting up again. So again, praying that it does not happen again. It's so frustrating, y'all. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, let's get on to it. Okay, so as I was mentioning, just in case if the Wi-Fi acts funky, just be with me, okay? Just hang on just a little while longer. Just a little while, okay? All right. So, topic, be on alert. We are now in the season of back to school, as you know it. And it's a lot happening in this season, right? The good news is our kids are heading back to school. Some of you had to drop off your student, for the first time and all that good stuff. And I know you miss your babies. I totally get it. And some are back in high school, middle school, you name it. And it's a joyous occasion. It's because they're in a new year, new season, new beginnings, all that good stuff. But being that said, we still need to be on alert. We need to be on our P's and Q's. We need to really do our part as parents or as guardians, to make sure that our kids are safe, they're sound, and that you know uh-oh, what I oh, okay, thank you. Okay, I heard an alert. I heard an alert. Got it. But but they need to be safe and sound and all those things. So let's get started with the first point. Okay, the first point that I want to talk to you guys about is about setting the boundaries. Setting the boundaries. Listen, moms, dads, cousins, whoever that is watching over the child. This is the time to really start talking to your kids about setting the boundaries. And they need to understand what that means. They need to know the consequences about those boundaries if it's been crossed. About when it comes to time, when it comes to them coming home from school and not allowing anyone in the house, that kind of situation. They got to respect the house, respect the rules, respect what you lay at the table, okay? Because for a lot of those working parents out there, they're not home when their child comes home from work. When their child come home from school, sorry, when they come home from school. So this is the time to let your child know what they need to do and what they should not do while you are not home. I grew up in that era where my mom made it plain. Okay. Do not invite nobody up in this house when I'm not here. Okay. I didn't, but I did. Okay. I'm not even going to get into it, but child, and I didn't do it one time either. But nothing happened. Trust me, nothing happened. Nothing happened, but I did. I did. But my mama never knew, because they had to get out. One time, I almost got busted. My friend had his 10 speed bike too, but that 10 speed was turned to a 20 speed. That boy was like, he was gone. Oh my gosh. But listen, I was dumb and naive. I was what, 15 years old, because I had a crush on him and this stuff, whatever. But anyway, again, these are the things that I'm talking about, because this is back in the early 80s. This is like in the early mid 80s. Okay, things were a little different then, but it was still stuff going on back then too, right? But now things are 10 times much worse now, and nowadays these kids don't care about rules. They just want to do their own thing and totally be disrespectful and dishonorable and everything. And they think they own the house and stuff like that because they live in the house too. So they could, in their little feeble brain, they think they could do whatever the heck they want. But that's so not the truth, right? That's so not the case. So, your son, your daughter, how they operate. You had them since you gave birth to them, them, right? So you need to set the boundaries on what you know of your child, right? Everybody is different. Every household is different. but you still need to set the ground rules. You still need to let them know that this is serious here. You don't expect nobody to be in this house except you and your sister or whoever else that belongs in that house. And no one else comes in there, right? You tell them the rules of the game. You let them know when you get here, you do your homework. When you get here, you clean the house. When you get here, whatever it is until they get home, right? But these things need to be talked about. This needs to be explained to them. This is, because again, and I get it, sometimes kids get bored. They get bored. They do their homework or whatever the case may be, and mommy and daddy's still not home. They're probably en route, in traffic, or they have to go to the market, whatever. Totally get it. I understand that. And kids get bored sometimes, and sometimes they may go outside and play right on their bike and stuff. And to them, it don't seem like a big deal. But for us parents, when we are not there to observe them, it is a big deal. And so sometimes we have to set the boundaries on that. It's like, no, you wait till I get home. Then you could go ahead and ride your bike in the cul-de-sac or wherever you live, because I'm home now. I'm monitoring you. I'm watching you or whatever. If they have an older sibling that's 16 or 17 years of age, okay, then again, everybody's house is different. You set the boundaries on that part or whatever, but if you have just that only child, and you don't want them outside that house until you get in that house or your spouse gets into that house, they got to understand that they cannot leave until you get home. And I know they want to hang out. I know they want to be with their friends and all that stuff, but no, because it's so much is going on, right? So it's really important to set the boundaries. It's really important to let them understand the consequences of those boundaries if it was breached, and they need to know it's very serious. The one thing I have a pet peeve about is I hear people say, or parents say, or even, kids say, whether they're preteen, teen, or even young adults, they always describe their relationship as, oh, this is my bestie. My mom's like my bestie, or my daughter's like my bestie. That kind of situation. And I'm like, that's so out of order. I understand you have I see it blinking. Hold on. I understand y'all have a great, tight relationship, and that's a wonderful thing. That mother-daughter bond is absolutely amazing. It's a blessing to have that. Not every mother and daughter has that, right? But for those who do, it's wonderful. But don't cross that line. You are still the mommy, and that's still your child, okay? Let's make that clear. Let's make that clear. I don't care if she's 16. I don't care if she's 18 or 25. That's still your child. She's your adult child, but she's still your child. There's no bestie in that, okay? You gave birth to your daughter. You didn't give birth to your bestie. You weren't in labor no 15 hours with your bestie. You didn't have an epidural, or you didn't have natural childbirth with your bestie. Okay, I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't get that. No. And that's what I'm talking about. You gotta make that clear, man. You gotta make that clear that no, I'm the parent and you the child. Okay. Yeah, we have a wonderful bond. I praise God for that bond and all those things. But at the end of the day, I'm still your parent. At the end of the day, especially if they're minors, I'm still your mama. Okay. And when they are in their, 20s, yeah, you still mama. But, now it's a different type of level of relationship, because now that child is an adult child, and now they're branching out and living on their own, doing things on their own or whatever, and that's totally understandable. But it's still your child. That there's no bestie in that whatsoever. You'll have a wonderful bond together through the years. You'll have grown to develop this closeness and all of that. And that's a wonderful thing to have. But again, out of respect and honor, that is your child and you are the parent. So we need to make it clear. Your kids need to understand their position as a child, and your position as the parent, as the mom and or the dad. Okay, so they don't get it perplexed, because here's the thing: they are around other kids, that have relationships with their parents as like, they're like a friend, or, you know what I'm saying? And it may sound so far-fetched, but believe me, y'all, it is like that. Okay, I grew up in the era back in the day where that strong foundation of family was real. You know, that mom and dad, they lived that parent responsibility. Okay, they didn't play those games back in the day. I grew up in that era where you better not cross that line talking about I'm your best friend or some kind of bull junk. Okay, because honey, they will snap you back. Okay, they'll snap you back to reality. Okay, so we need to bring that back into to this reality. Okay, to let these kids know, oh, no. Because see, when they do that, they abuse it. They abuse you in a sense of not honoring your position of being their parent. So they go ahead and do some things. And because some parents are just very passive. Some parents, just a little bit, versus some parents like, I wish you would. What did you just say? Excuse you. So yes, let's have that serious conversation, with your kids. Ask them, what is the definition of boundaries mean? What does it mean to them? Right? And it goes on to our next point. Let's go to the second point tonight, guys. Let's go to the second point. That is to be connected. Let's be connected, right? Be connected, meaning having that conversation. Communication is key. All right. Our kids need to know that, we are involved. We need to be proactive, not just talk it, but really be activating into your kids' life. And especially when it comes to their education. I grew, like I said, going back to me, I grew up in that era back in the day when parent-teacher conference was the thing, man. And I lived in the hood. I'm from Newark, New Jersey, yo. And I'm telling you, the parents back in the day in the predominantly Black community, all right, and they would come to conferences back in the day. And yes, those some of the parents was working 2 jobs too. Hello. They made the effort to get that child, to get to that school and talk to those parents. Okay. Because I was with my mom in every parent-teacher conference. Because, I mean, I went. It's not like I had a choice in the matter. To be honest with you, I mean, I could have stayed home, but I wanted to go, because I wasn't a problem child, and I'm not there bragging or boasting about it, but I didn't give my mom any issues, and I sure didn't give my teachers any issues either. I was a good kid. I mean, it's just by the grace of God, I was a good kid. I did what I was supposed to do and all of that. Very respectful to the teachers and all of that. But during that time, it was very active when it came to parent-teacher conference meetings, right? But now, in this day and age, Lord Jesus, you really got to pull people out of their house to come see their child and to meet the child's teacher, and have a decent conversation here to get, to understand the progress report. What's going on with my baby? That kind of thing, So yeah, we need to be connected to our child. We need to know what they're doing, how they're doing, get involved with your child's activities, participate in the school, would they have some volunteering service. And I'm only talking to those moms or dads who are, who are working from home or maybe not working at all. You're a stay-at-home mom like I was, what have you. If you have some time off for work or whatever, or you can make time off from work. Hello, some people may not be able to do that, and I get it, but there's some who can make that change. You can go ahead and say, I'm going to sign up, be there for my son or my daughter, and participate in this event for them, because this is all about bonding. It's all about connecting with your children and having a good time, building positive memories and all of that. Those babies will never ever forget those moments. You may forget it some years later, but I guarantee your child will never forget it, right? So we need to be connected. That is the problem, the lack of communication, because we get so caught up in our world, moms, dads, whoever's watching. We get so wrapped up in our world, that we totally neglect or dismiss, or reject. Let's keep it real. And I'm not saying that you do it deliberately, because we get really caught up in our world, whether it's work, whether it's life, whatever it is. And we just totally say, I don't have time right now. I deal with it later. Okay, I got to take care of this. And that later becomes next week. And now your child is heartbroken. Your child feel rejected. Your child, don't feel like they should come to you because, every time they do, you turn them away. And now the communication has been pulled apart, right? So we need to really take the time to reevaluate our position, okay? And to say, you know what, Lord, I need to do better. And that's all of us. That's all of us. That's all of us. We all need to do better. Okay? This is not, triggering anybody or harassing. No, this is for every one of us. Even me. Reevaluate your position as a parent, instead of, because here's the thing, just like you are growing up and you have changed and you are still changing, so is your child. Let that sit in. Your child is not 5 years old no more. They're 12 years old. They mature different now. They think different now, right? And we miss the years, even though they're with us, but we still missing the years. We're missing the moments because we get so overly involved with our own issues, our own whatever, that we really missed out on special moments to see our child growing up. They're not the same, right? They are changing. They are maturing. They are developing all these things. And these babies are confused. Sometimes they don't know what's going on with their little bodies, why they think the way they think, why they, and they need mommy or daddy to help them out. But sometimes mommy and daddy are just not available. They're there, but they're not there. Their body's there, but their mind is not. I hear it all the time. I have heard it all the time. And you want to know why these kids in school irritated, flustered, agitated or sad or what have you, because they get upset to see their friends with their moms and daddies, but they wish their mommy and daddy was with them as well, right? So we need to be more connected, right? You need to, remind them or let them know that I'm here for you, son. I'm here for you, daughter. Back then when my girls were younger, when I used to take their own lunch, I used to put little love notes in their lunchbox. So when they open it up, they see the little note, say, I love you, you're amazing, you're beautiful, that kind of thing. And they put a smile on their face, right? It just makes their day complete. It does, right? And I did it for a while. But even if I didn't do it consistently, I said it verbally all the time. I still call them beautiful. I say, hey, beautiful. Hey, gorgeous. How you doing today? And they can tell you that right now, because I poured that into them ever since they came out of my womb, to let them know of who they are, to let them know that they're beautiful inside and out, that they are powerful beings. They are gifted. They are anointed. They're smart. They are overly qualified. Come on with it, because the anointing of God is in them. Come on with it, because there's so much in them. All is not going to come out at the same time, but as they grow and develop in this journey called life, God is going to birth out what God has impacted in them. That is going to change the masses, in this world because of the calling on their lives. So yeah, I stay connected that way, but I also realize that they're not 16, they're not 12. They're young adults, and now they're trying to figure life out at that stage of their life. You know what I'm saying? And now you got to talk to them a little bit different. You still got to be a parent. You still got to be stern, because sometimes they get out of water. They get a little bit out of water, and sometimes you got to snap them back into water, all right, to let them know, yo, hold up now. Okay. Girl, you have not established life yet. Okay, you just get it together now, because you don't want this pounce. See, I'm very direct. I'm not passive, and they know that. I never have been and never will. Why should I be? You know, have that conversation with your sons or your daughters about your experiences growing up when they're at that age. When you were 16, let them know you was a little hellion. Let them know you was always getting into trouble. Let them know you was always in the principal office, being a clown or whatever. Or let them know that, yeah, you was always active and participating in different groups and stuff like that. Let them know. Let them know that you had those insecurities about your body shape, and you didn't think you were attractive, you didn't think you were pretty and all of that stuff. Let them know that if they're going through something now, you can relate to that because you went through something similar. Let them know, that, yeah, I could actually come to my mom now. I could talk to her almost just about anything, build this connection with them so they know that when they come home, it's a safe place for them, that they won't feel rejection, that they won't be dismissed. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of kids are feeling that way. And even with our adult kids that are off to college, yeah, just because they're 20 or 19 or years old or whatever, that don't mean you don't stop, connecting with them. Y'all always on that phone. Text them, honey. Say, hey, baby girl, I miss you. And you are amazing. Do great today. I know you will. Just text them. Even if you can't FaceTime them, text them. And they definitely get the message. They get the text. And they give you a little heart emoji. Or say, oh, thank you, man. That kind of stuff. And it makes their day. Because they don't even know what day they're going through until they share it with you eventually that day or later on the weekend or something, but you keep doing that to let them know that even though we're far away, but yet I'm still close, that you can still call me, you can FaceTime me, okay? And, I'm here for you, baby girl. I'm here for you, my son, or what have you, right? It's so important to build this connection of communication with your child or children. If you have more than one child, I get it. The personalities may be similar, but they're still opposite, right? So, you have to connect with one child versus connecting with the other child, right? And then you have to do that because, again, your child is not going to be the same child when you remember them when they were 5 or 7 or 9 years old. Now they're 15, 17, soon to be 19 years of age. You know what I'm saying? And now they're training, their mental state is totally different. They have seen a lot. They have experienced some things, okay? Some things you may never know, but they have experienced some things that they pretty much don't feel comfortable to talk about or share or whatever. And they're trying to figure things out. And that's why as moms, we need to be very vocal and very real and very honest about our experience growing up too as a child when in our teen years. Let them know that you had some insecurities about whatever, or that you had a crush on somebody, but you just didn't know operate on that, and you had to go to talk to your grandma versus talking to your mama. How about that? Just keep it real. Let them know that where they are right now is not peculiar, it's not strange. You know what I'm saying? Because these kids are surrounded by so much and they're being pulled in all many directions, man, right? And so to keep them enclosed in your household, so to speak, you need to build that connection with them so they know who to go to versus going to their bestie or their so-called bestie or a group of friends or going on TikTok or going on these group chats and all this other stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? So start creating that. Like I said, put a little love note in their lunchbox for the little babies, right? Even those who are in college, you just could text them. You may not be able to do that no more with the little post-it notes, and I get it, but you got that phone. You could text them every now and then and say, I'm thinking of you. I hope all is well with you. You are amazing. You're going to do great today. And leave it at that, but continue with that connection so they know that, I could call my mom anytime. I could talk to her, talk to my dad or, and I won't feel embarrassed or ashamed. And even when they do mess up or they make a mistake or they did something that they should have done, or whatever, at least they still feel safe to, to talk to you. Yet when you set those boundaries, when you had those conversations, you let them know, okay, here are the consequences of whatever you did. Now you're gonna have to take care of that, okay? Because you can't go back on your word, okay? You can't go back now. You're gonna have to be that parent, okay? And let them know this is what the consequences are. Because when they get in trouble in the real world, okay, and they gotta deal and the law is involved, this ain't no no backhand situation. That's when then you want to go beg and plead to the judge or to whoever to say, no, my child never done anything. And that may be true, but the crime, you know what I'm saying? So please do not dismiss this. Have a talk with your child, right? Have a talk with your child. The last point tonight, y'all, the last point is to stand on discipline. That is the last point for the night. Stand on discipline. What I mean by that, listen, if you're from that cloth and you know what I'm talking about, you was raised in that family where where's Mr. Gray? Where's Mr. Brown? Where's Mr. Black? And you know what I mean? Then you need to use that. I grew up in that era back in that day. Now I didn't have to. It wasn't used on me. Praise ye the Lord. But I did have to get disciplined one time. I was 7 to 8 years old, and I took some money out of the credit. I was working at a store. She was a manager at a store that was selling gospel stuff, church paraphernalia, that kind of stuff. And mama, when she closed the store, she takes the register to, to count and all that stuff. I don't know what got into me. Well, what got into me, but I just said, oh, let me just take a few dollars. And I put it in my pocket. Got home that night. And I don't know why I told mama, but I just told her. I said, yeah, I took some money out the cash register machine. She's like, you did what? Bring that money to me again, girl. Yeah, mama got that strap. That was the last time ever. The last time ever. Okay. She did not, say, why would you do that? Now that's wrong. All right, well, at least you were honest about it. Then, don't do that again, okay? No, she didn't do that. Like, I ain't raised no thief. Do that again, you hear? Huh? You do? 7 years old, man. Oh, my gosh. I'm telling you, I never did it again. Okay, and that was the first and last time. I got a spanking on my boom boom. Okay. But yes, as I got older, I had my verbal, acting like I knew what I was talking about, whatever. Had my moments with my mom. When you get in that teen years, you think you grown, you think you know what you're talking about, you think you know what you're doing, all this stuff, whatever. And I'm like, I ain't got to do nothing. Man, I said that to my mama one time, and then what made it worse, I went upstairs because it was a stairwell. Went upstairs in my room. My mom calling on me. You better bring yourself down here, girl. No, I ain't coming down here. And she come up behind me, and I slammed the door. Woo! Clutch your pearls, girl. I slammed the door on my mama's face. Whoo, Jesus. And had the nerve, y'all, to lock the door. When I lean on that door, yeah, I was already looking at my funeral. I was, whew. She's like, girl, you better open up this door. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. And I opened up that door. I was in trouble. And I had to been maybe, Jesus, had to been like, I don't know, 13, at least somewhere in that. I was a knucklehead. I was just having my little moment, acting like I knew what I was talking about, or grown or whatever, right? But my mother stood on discipline. I'm just saying that to say she stood on discipline. She was not a passive mama. She was not like, please, girl, open up the door. You know, she didn't do that. Girl, if you open this door. Right? She was hardcore. And the thing about it was, you know, because when you don't realize how disrespectful that is, you know, and you not only disrespected your mother or your dad or whatever, but you dishonored her. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that needs to be discussed and talked about with your child, with your children, so they can understand that. Because here's the thing. They also got to learn that, because they got to deal with other adults, and that's those teachers, the staff, administrators, and any other adult that they are connected to. Okay, so it does start at home base, because if they don't respect the parents, what makes you think they're going to respect the teacher? What makes you think they're going to respect the administrators and the staff, right? What makes you think they're going to respect any type of authority? And we have seen and the videos and how these teens, you know, get all acting all self-entitled and everything. My dad is a judge, and my dad is this, and my mom, and all that stuff. But as soon as them handcuffs come on their wrist, they're like, I want my mama, and all that stuff. No. To avoid that, better talk to your child and stand on that discipline. Let them know what the consequences will be when they disobey, when they step out of order. And I get it. Everybody has their moment. Oh, no, my dad got a hold of her. No ladder no more. He quenched that fire, right? He quenched that. He like, okay, let me. He want me to light you up? I'm gonna light your up. Okay, come on. Oh, are you serious? What? Oh, that is crazy. That's crazy. Wow. But you know what? I grew up in that era back in the day. I'm telling you, where that foundation was solid, and that, you know, you could not, even if you did get out of order, trust me, it was not going to be dismissed. You best believe them parents was on it. And I remember going, what I said, those parent teacher conferences, and, you know, hearing, you know, the teachers talking to the parents about their child's performance and their behavior and their lack of activity or whatever. Them parents will pop that child right there in front of that teacher. They ain't, you act like that again. You hear, I didn't raise you up to be no fool. You better come on. Baby, they did not hold back. They did not. I grew up in that era where parents would come to the school daytime in that office with their child in the principal office, okay? And that principal would leave that office, and it's the mama or the daddy and that child in there, and they come back resurrected. They come back brand new. And this was like in the mid-'80s. Okay. They ain't playing. They weren't playing. Right? So we as parents, we need to stand on that discipline. We need to put the fear of God in them. And I don't mean in the sense to really have them like freaking out. No, but this is the reality. This is what's going on. It's really hell out there, for real, for real. And we see this every single day on the news, on social media, the videos posting of these kids getting in trouble, getting caught up in stuff that they ain't got no business getting their hands on, right? And God forbid if they get caught up and get yanked up or whatever. I saw a video on Facebook about last week. There's a guy that does these reenactments, with these teenagers, and the parents are included now. The parents are fully aware. He plays the, perpetrator or whatever, and he texts these kids. The parents give them, talk to the. Do you talk to your kids about the do's and don'ts? Do you set the boundaries? Do you teach them about about stranger danger, stuff like that? And they say, yeah, we have conversations about it and yada yada yada. And he's like, okay, well, here's the scenario. Here's the plan. I'm going to text her. I'm going to have her to come. I'm going to ask her to meet me at such and such a place, or I'll come to her house or whatever, right? And then they be like, oh, she won't do that. She won't do that. Now the parents, again, they are totally aware of what's going on, letting them know that, right? But the kids think their parents are going out to dinner or their dad's sleeping or whatever. And, he texted, okay, I'm here. I'm coming to your door. And then the girl be like, okay, I'm coming now. Now the parent, is in shock because it's like, nah, she's not going to open up that door. She ain't going to do that. Little do he know. The young man rings the doorbell. Dad is right behind him. She opens up the door, and the guy said, hey, how you doing? And she's like, hi. He's like, can I come in? She's like, and they said, here come Daddy snooping around. And she's like, oh. And Daddy's going off. I taught you better than this. Why in the world would you do that thing? Why? He's like, don't you know you could have been snatched? Don't you know you could have been raped? Don't you know you could have been killed? And all these other things. And this was like 4 different scenarios that this guy had posted. Parents. It's about a girl meeting him in the park. And the girl told the guy, oh, my dad went out or something like that. And she left her apartment. The park is right across the street from where they live. So she got out the house because they had cameras. And she walked over to the park. Little did she know her dad was on the other side over there. And he was livid. Okay. What I'm saying is, you don't understand your kids when they get bored, when they, they just want to just be mischievous, or they just want to be rebellious, whatever it is, they will use this phone, or they will go on them games, and that's how they meet these strangers. So yes, you need to set these boundaries. You need to have a connection, and you need to stand on your discipline. You need to be real on your children, because the devil ain't playing. There's too much going on. And our kids are vulnerable, and they are naive because they don't know no better. And when they get in that kind of environment, in that kind of world, they won't even know what to do. That guy had done a reenactment with this a boy. And both his parents was in that van, and the mother was adamant, like, well, we had talked to him numerous of times about strangers and getting in the car and all that stuff. Okay. So the guy had to put on a mask. So the young boy comes out and he gets in, and then his parents, he didn't know it was his parents at the time, they snatched him in there, and he like, help. And then the father took the mask off. It's me, boy, it's me. And he in shock. Now, they don't show the kid's face, of course. They have their face covered because they're minors. But I can imagine the shock. I can imagine it. And the parents are livid. They are in disbelief. I think it's fair to say they are embarrassed because they are being, recorded here. And it's just amazing that, it's like, what were you thinking? Every single one of them was saying the same thing. What were you thinking? Why would you do such a thing? We had this talk before. We still talk about this stuff. We just had this conversation. And you doing this now? What is going on? Why are you doing? I mean, all of that. One child, he was walking, I guess, to the person, the guy that, was playing the perpetrator, walking to the destination, but the mom caught him, and he had to look no more like 12 years old, had his little backpack, and mama was in his face, and then she took the backpack from him and opened it up. It was a bottle of wine. It was a bottle of wine. Okay? So I'm telling you, y'all, please do not test this. Please, please. I don't care how tired they are. They how tired they get hearing and repeating and sit down and have a conversation with them again. Because kids don't be paying attention the first time or the second or the third. You got to continue to drill this in their heads. Okay? So they understand the seriousness of this. Cover your kids in prayer. I'm telling you, man, cover your kids in prayer. Cover that school, that campus in prayer. For real, for real. And it can happen to any child. And it can happen anywhere. It don't have to be in a trailer park community. You could be in the suburbs. You can live in an apartment. You can live in a cul-de-sac. You can live in a trailer. It don't matter. Do not take this lightly. Because the devil's out there, baby, and those little demons ain't playing, honey. They are for real, and they will do what they got to do to kill, steal, and destroy. And we get all caught in our own world. We get so overly distracted over ourselves because we think their kids, they be all right. They ain't got no problems like we got problems. Oh, yes, they do got problems, and they got problems where they don't even know how to comprehend, because they babies, they don't know no better. Even if they are 15, they're still young. They don't know better, and they need mommy. They need their dad. They need an adult that will help them and guide them and direct them and train them and discipline them in decency and in order. And it starts at home base. It starts at home. And if you do this, you start to see the changes in your son and your child's behavior, and then they start again with you more, start communicating with you more, start trusting you more. Come on with that. Let's be real on that. A lot of kids don't trust their moms and dads because they've been dismissed too many times. They've been rejected too many times. Even though they love them, their parents love their babies, but they just, that's why I said we as parents, we got to take on accountability now. And that's why it's so hard for teachers. So hard for teachers to connect. When they tell the parent, this is what I'm dealing with your son's behavior and attitude, and this is the issue as to why they're not really progressing well in their class, because of whatever reason, they're not really verbal, or they, or whatever. And the parents would get all irritated, upset, and, like, well, you can't tell my child, you can't do that, and don't you tell my child. And that's where the problem is. It starts with the foundation of the home. Okay? So let's do better, y'all. Let's do better. Okay? And ask God to give us guidance, give us direction. Help me, oh Lord, to connect with my child better. Help me, oh Lord, to be patient. Help me, oh Lord, to be understanding, because kids are not verbal like we as parents, for a majority of us adults, are verbal. They can only express based on the age, based on where they are right now. And so sometimes you have to respond in that level of where they are, so they get a full understanding. They know, they like, oh, okay, I get it. And this is a process, y'all. This is a process. And thank God for another chance, because he's a God that will give you another chance to get it right, right? We don't have all the answers. Of course we don't, but he is our answer. He is the one that can help us and direct us and, and get us back on track, right? And build a relationship with your son and your daughter so you guys can really start connecting together and communicating together, spend quality time together. You know what I'm saying? I like I said, I did my best with my daughters. I kept it real with them. I told them some things about my life growing up and everything, because I ain't had no, what I'm going to hide it for what? Now the wonderful thing is that they not living in the hood. I lived in the hood. God blessed us when we in the suburbs. So, it's a whole different dynamics, but the issues are still there. Okay, you can live in the burbs, you can live in the hood, but the same issues still resides in both addresses. Okay. Social media is all over. It's global. Okay. It's global. Text messages. Come on. These group pages. These group, we call them these group rooms or whatever that these kids make up sometimes. These kids are making up. Remember, I came on 2 weeks ago and I was sharing these apps. I hope y'all really took that seriously. And that if you didn't see that, go check on our YouTube channel, and the video is still there, and you can write down those apps. If not, you go to your local police department. They can definitely give you a listing of those apps that you parents need to be aware of, and then you need to check your child's electronic devices to see if they have that stuff on there. Because that's how it starts. Because when your kids are home alone, they get bored. They want to do something. And in their mind, in their world, they think what they're doing is innocent, that they're just playing the game and they're chatting at the same time, thinking they're talking to another kid that's their age, but it could be a 55-year-old man or woman. I'm being honest with you, y'all. And we don't want to think of that stuff, but you have to, because this is what's going on. If it's not through electronically, it's right there in public. So yes, you need to have that boundary set. You need to communicate, stay connected, so they know that if something that they didn't like, they could to you directly. They don't feel rejected. They don't feel dismissed or denied, because when kids are dealing with something that they don't even know how to process, and they can't come home to their own parents, tell them what they experienced, what do you think they're going to do? Where do you think they're going to go? So this is the time that we need to make some changes. Start within ourselves, and then we could go move forward and open up this forum in the household to have these conversations with your son and your daughter so they can understand, the do's and the don'ts, the boundaries, and what does it mean to honor and respect, and so when they get into a situation, if it's not them particularly, they're probably in a group of friends and they see their friends doing some mischief stuff. They just happen to be in there and they're not even participating, but they just happen to be in that circle. They need to walk away. Tell them that. If you notice some things that's totally out of order, you just need to walk away. God bless you with some friends later. But if you know that they've been doing this stuff for quite some time and they causing some trouble, you don't need to be around that. Let them know that. Because the more they them, the more that behavior is eventually going to jump on like from one head to the next. That's exactly how that situation is going to be. If they keep hanging around them long enough, that behavior is going to jump on them. So yes, let's do the jobs, mama and daddies, because you are fully qualified to do it. You are more than qualified to do it. Okay? If you don't want the law to get on them, then you better be the law in your house. Okay? You be the judge and the jury. And I'm serious on that. And I tell you the truth, when they get older, they will truly thank you. They will truly thank you for being tough, for being real and truthful, because now they probably have kids by that time, or they are educators themselves, or they see other people's experiences, and you are just thinking, like, oh wow, I used to be that way, but I'm so grateful now how my mom or my dad, how they disciplined me and how they opened up to me, and I was able to open up to them, and I'm so grateful for that. Back then I didn't get it. I was giving them a lot of time, a lot of hard time, but now I totally get it. Trust me when I tell you, y'all. It hurts, yes, but you have to do this because you love them so much that you don't want to see them get destroyed. That love is to protect them, but it's also to get them straight. And you would do what you got to do. Okay? So that concludes it, y'all. That concludes it. Be on alert. And be on alert is always you parents stay on your game. Stay active, get connected with other parents if you have not already, and connect with the school in terms of events, or usually the school would sometimes send a memo or email to parents to let them know upcoming events happening or whatever, especially when it comes to the law or something like that or whatever. But if that does happen, please take advantage of it. If the parents are invited to come, make that your go-to. If it, and other things that that's going on in the school, if you're not working or what have you, take that time to build that connection with your child. Okay. All right, so we conclude that. Therese, I think you posted something about, do we have what's news? Yep. So we're going to go to our What's News before we dismiss for the night. Our What's News is a segment where we actually put the spotlight on individuals who are doing wonderful, great things in their community or across the world or what have you. So my sister friend, Therese, had posted something, and so we're going to go ahead and let you guys see it in a second. I hate these pop-ups. Oh, these ads. Yay. So we have this young brother here. Let me see. Can I? Hold on. This is Chris Paul. I believe he's a professional baller. He creates a plant-based brand, Good Eatin'. That's what it's called. Now available in over 1,000 Walmart stores. Oh, I need to go to Walmart. Okay, so it says everyone loves, these ads. Everyone loves the taste of good eating. We know once they tried, they love it. Expanding with Walmart is such a proud moment as it gets the snacks out there to more people. It says nearly 3 years after NBA player Chris Paul introduced his plant-based line Good Eatin', he has announced that the brand is presently in Walmart stores. I heard of that name before. I'm trying to remember the design of the packaging, but after success in Texas with with him, sorry, but HEB, which has 10 locations in San Antonio, the brand will now be sold in more than 1,000 Walmart stores across the country. Good Eatin' has been in Walmart since June 28th of this year. He says, as someone who loves to snack like he does, I know how it's hard to find better for you options that are flavorful and don't feel like a compromise. Everyone loves the taste of Good Eatin'. We know once they love it. Expanding with Walmart is such a proud moment as it gets the snacks out there to more people, as he mentioned. Okay, that's okay. So there's a picture of him at Walmart holding his brand. So yeah, this is different. I thought it was something else. So this is a different brand here. Therese, if you could scroll down, you to see him in Walmart holding the bag. I guess these are chips or something he's holding here. People who have enjoyed the brand, haven't tasted it yet, can pick up 5 Eaton's most popular snack is hot puffs, cinnamon sugar puffs, nacho cheese tortilla chips, big deal ranch tortilla chips, and cookies and cream popcorn. Ooh, okay. And the price is $4.98. Oh no, sorry, $4.34. Okay, so it's less than $5. The Walmart launch marks a major milestone in Good Eating's mission to make plant-based snacking more accessible. There you go. That's the picture there. To consumers seeking better options. With approximately 90% of the U.S. population living within 10 miles of Walmart, this partnership is a step in our goal to make our better-for-you options as accessible as the mainstream alternatives. Okay, so this is showing, this is talking about more his career as an NBA player. But at the end of the day, y'all, go ahead and support him. I definitely, if I keep it in when I do, I definitely will check this out. So yes, go ahead and check this out, guys. Support my brother here. If any of you have had this snack before, let me know. You can comment in, in here on our YouTube, or if not on Facebook, and let me know if you have tried this snack before. I definitely would like to try the popcorn. And I think there was another flavor he mentioned. So he got 5 options to choose from, right? The cinnamon sugar puffs, yeah, because I have a sweet tooth, so. But I'm getting better at it, though. I'm getting good at it. I'm getting better, thank the Lord, right? But yeah, I want to try this, the cinnamon sugar puffs and the cookie and cream popcorn. I don't care about the hot puffs. I don't like hot stuff. Yeah. All right, y'all. So this concludes it. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for showing up and watching the replay. I do appreciate you, right? So my girl Leticia and I, we wish you blessings and all that stuff. And God willing, next week you get to see our girl Leticia. And we'll have some more content for you. But other than that, guys, have a great night and see you soon. Bye, y'all.